PPP loans. The acceptance of Bitcoin is Phil Green, Chairman and CEO of Frost Bank. Phil, great to have you with us.
Great to be here, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
Can you talk us through how your bank sees or how sensitive your bank is to every, increase, whatever increment you want to use in steepness in the yield curve, just to try and understand how levered your bank is to rising rates?
Yeah, I think we don't see anything happening on the short end, but when you look at the long end, I think one good way to look at it is that we've got about $10 billion of our balance sheet today, of about a $42 billion balance sheet, in 10 basis points at the Fed today. So we're looking for opportunities to invest in the bond market once we believe that there's some certainty and conviction baked into the numbers. And I think we're starting to see that as we've seen these increases in rates going forward.
Yeah, what's your sense of as to where rates are actually headed? I mean, I was noting in an earlier segment that a lot of asset classes have gone back to pre-pandemic highs. Rates we have not seen go back to pre-pandemic highs, levels that they were at in just, say, February of last year, Phil. So do you anticipate, let's say, the 10-year yield recouping that level, which is about 1.9% or so?
I do. I think we're seeing some inflationary possibilities being represented in the numbers today. And I think that's rational. When you look at what's happened with regard to fiscal support, monetary support, all of it appropriate. We're looking at additional fiscal support today. I think that's common sense to me. Also, I think you need to look at Main Street. We were meeting with customers yesterday. I remember a couple of those comments. One was that they had seen steel prices increase to them. This is a company that makes compressors. They'd seen steel prices increase 3 times in the last 2 months, and they'd passed those along to consumers. There was another large home builder who mentioned that they're increasing prices on their homes on a weekly basis. And you're also seeing some problems with supply chain that continue to be there. So it's something that needs to be watched. And as we look at Main Street, there's some inflation there.
Yeah, and you have been meeting with a lot of the small businesses as you're focusing on processing the PPP loans for that segment of the economy. I'm curious, too, though, the other side of rising commodity prices is rising oil prices, Phil, and you're in Texas, so I'm wondering how positively that has impacted you as energy seems to have come back to life this year.
It's been so much better than it was last year. Oil at $62 really has created some activity. I think the servicing side was still under a lot of pressure even when it was in the 50s. We've seen that. I think we'll see that repair itself some. This compressor company, for example, was doing a lot of work for the fracking business in the Permian Basin. So I think it's been a big help and will continue to be so.
Have you been extending loans more, or how do you see this sort of comeback in energy affecting your portfolio?
I think energy is just a broad benefit overall to the economy in Texas. It's not as big an employment base as you'd think. It's under 5%, but it is something that undergirds a lot of what we do here. So we're not seeing a lot of borrowing happen right now. That's true really of the economy in general. We're still seeing advance rates on loan commitment lines, about 10% below where they were pre-pandemic. We're optimistic that as the vaccine takes place, we see more activity. We'll see those commitment lines go to a more historical percentage of the line drawn.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.